All right. So I was not planning to give this lightning talk and don't entirely know what I'm going to say, but I was excited enough about it that I wanted to share with y'all. And I'm just going to talk for a bit until I get gonged off the stage. So I wanted to talk to you about Épée, my work in progress web framework for Raku. And if you have done any front-end web development in the last few years, you're almost certainly familiar with React, the JavaScript framework that is extremely popular and still, growing strong, and has really captured a lot of developer attention, and people have found it extremely productive in large part due to its declarative component-driven model for building web applications. And so Épée is very much the idea, very much built with the idea of bringing that same declarative model to building web pages and web applications in Raku. One of the things that people say about React that really help sell it to JavaScript developers is that it's just JavaScript. And of course, as a Raku developer, I want to say, well, it's just JavaScript, and maybe that's not such a great thing from my point of view. But another reaction I have to that is it really just JavaScript? One of the key developers behind React, Dan Abramov, who I'll return to later, has a post that talks about React as a user interface runtime, and points out all the things that React does that are not part of JavaScript, not part of web browser APIs, but that go into making it easy and productive to build React applications. And React really does do a lot for web developers and adds a lot of things to JavaScript. And a lot of those things are really good ideas, but they're not really React ideas. They're just good computer science fundamental ideas. And for that reason, so many of them are already built into Raku. So React has use state. We can declare variables with the state declarator. They spread their props out to sort of simulate named arguments. We have named arguments. They allow you to return a fragment instead of a full component. We have slips that can slip a list into another. And I could go down this entire chart. One that I'll call out is with context. Dan Abramov, again, has said explicitly that context is just a way of simulating dynamic variables. There's a reason that dynamic variables exist in eLisp. They're very helpful for building UIs and component-driven things where someone may be using code from someone else and need to insert a variable into it. They can be abused, of course, but there's a reason React had to implement that entire API. Again, when we have dynamic variables built in, we don't have to do that. So Raku is actually an excellent fit for this sort of UI development because we can leverage all the work that went into language design and not need to re-implement or reinvent the wheel the way React does when it's building on a JavaScript foundation instead. So this is a very simple fragment of a React component that is not, I'm not holding this up as a great bit of React code. I just happened to grab it from the React tutorial where you're building a tic-tac-toe game. And so it's not great React code, but it's code that they sort of hold out as what a beginner might write. Here's the same thing written in the syntax that I have for Épée. So, one thing that I think is extremely notable about that, in addition to leveraging things like named parameters and various features of Raku, is that it is significantly shorter, 4 lines instead of 12. And this is not about golfing our solution or anything, but I do think that the shorter the code we write, the better in a lot of ways, especially here. Returning again to something else that Dan Abramoff has said, he has said that he likes to, instead of thinking about the big O notation, likes to think about the bug O notation, which says that describing how much an API slows down as your code base grows, and has gone on to say that part of what he likes about React is that it makes the number of bugs proportional to the tree height in component trees. What that means is the more concisely we can write our UI components, the fewer bugs we can have. My hope with Épée is that it will that its much more concise syntax will allow much more robust components that are not only faster and more productive to write, but also leave less surface area for the bugs to hide in. And I have a tremendous amount more I would love to tell you about this, and I look forward to having the code in a point where I can share it. I've been hacking on it pretty intensely for about 8 months, but I'm not sure I have anything else that I can share in 30 seconds. So I think I will stop it there.